are the Walking Dead.
He's going the distance, da-na-na-na. He's going the speed, da-na-na-na. Alright, if anyone knows the song Distance by Cake,
Ew.
I'm singing that song. Because the name of this episode is called The Distance.
Oh.
And I love that song. It's a
They're
very,
hitting
very
the
good
road.
song. I can't put it on this video because I'll get copyright claims up the ass. But yes, our group has made it to the legendary Alexandria zone. And they have confirmed that's the name of it. I didn't know if they would change it up in the TV series. But yes, that's the name of it. And, so yeah, this again, episode 11, The Distance. This is our review. A lot happening.
Didn't make it because of Rick's paranoia.
Yeah,
it's kind of ironic how his paranoia ends up putting his group in like danger, even though like he wants it, you know, to protect them so much. That's like he's got himself so wrapped up in the fact that there's no more humanity, and you know you have to kill or be killed, and all this stuff. Oh boy.
Yeah, we saw a glimpse that his mentality, there might be a part of it that's, you know, gone a little, you know, too far gone. Maybe gone the extreme a bit, you know. And it's funny because you had Michonne in this episode as the big voice of reason. She had many lines, many parts where she basically took charge of the situation. At the first part where they were talking to Aaron, she's like, "Oh, this could be somewhere safe. We don't know that 100%." And then she had, like, I think 2 or 3 discussions with Rick where she was like, you know, you gotta let it go, you gotta be okay. Because let's also remember that the season finale for season 4, where Rick, you know, ripped the guy's throat out, she witnessed all that. So she's kind of been with Rick for his really bad moments, really good moments. So she's kind of in a good position to make.
They should be in a relationship now.
I don't know if they might do that.
They got chemistry, dude.
I don't.
Shipping Rick and Michonne now.
But there. I mean, there's been no lead. I don't know. There hasn't really been any lead up, honestly, because I was telling Jack that in the comics, again, this is spoilers, but Rick is in a relationship with Andrea in the comic series, but obviously she's dead, and now
dead.
Well, they took her character in a different direction. In this TV series, she was an absolute pussy, but.
And she caused a lot of people to die by not killing
them. And in the comics, she's a badass.
Michonne.
You know what they did? They took Carol's character, because in the comic book, Carol's character is a pussy and dies, like in the prison, just willy-nilly. But in the TV series, they made her this badass kind of character, you know? So, they've done that, though. They flipped that role. But anyway,
I think that Rick's initial distrust of Alan was... Aaron.
Alan.
Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, Alan.
of Aaron is definitely reasonable. I mean, they had no idea, and it was kind of weird that someone would be watching them, and who knows how many of them are, and previous experiences dictate that it's not going to be a good thing. But when they did find the car, when the group went out and found the cars and came back with them, and they had all the food and everything that Aaron said was true, I think at that point he should have loosened up, but because he is so tightly wound on this, he was like, no, we're not taking the route that you cleared, we're taking Route 23 up Zombieville in the middle of the night, and we're gonna almost get killed. Because
we knew by the previews that they were gonna run into some shit,
right.
and that's what I was thinking. I made that prediction that, they're gonna get into some shit trying to get there. I absolutely knew it. I didn't know it would be Rick's paranoia that would get into it. I thought that they would just get into shit just because, but Aaron's like, nope, we got the route cleared, Route 16, we're all good.
And then Rick's like, okay, we're doing the opposite of that, we're doing it at night. And
like, even Aaron was appalled, like, with the applesauce, he's like, you really think I'd kill your daughter? Like, he was just appalled by, like,
my mama force-fed me applesauce, but I don't like it.
You have to think of who they were dealing with, the Terminus people. Like, that guy Martin was willing to kill the baby.
Right.
They've dealt with people who are the extreme in the other end.
And that was kind of the interesting thing, because Rick brought that up with Michonne. It's like, what were the similarities with the two places we've been with Terminus and the whatever place, Governorville, Woodbury, and she was like, it was silent when we went up to it. So it was kind of interesting that they incorporated that. And then at the end of the episode when they pulled up, Rick stops and he pauses and he listens and he hears people, you know, like children
kids
playing, and he's like, it's like a sigh of relief for him.
There's like, that close up on his face, and you kind of see his eyes kind of break, and
like,
then he looks at Michonne.
Like almost kind of like the weight is lifted off his shoulders, because he could finally take a breath and be like, okay, maybe I can trust this for once, instead of always, because he, as the group leader, and he takes the responsibility of the group, and like, so he takes it to heart that he has to be the one who's willing to make, or at least has to make the tough decisions. And it was kind of interesting because at the very end, Carol came up to him and said in passing, she was like, "Even though you were wrong, you were right," which was a nice thing for her to say, because even though that the safe zone is what it was, and he was wrong about that, he was right to want to protect his family, because he was talking to Michonne about not wanting to bring his family into another place like that.
Yeah, and I mean, we know Carol can go the distance of Rick, and the fact that she's adapted, and that she's been willing to do these tough things, like killing Karen and David in the prison when they were sick, we've seen this obviously Carol has proven that she's fit for this world, unlike Tyrese, which is, obviously we've learned that in the past couple of episodes. But, yeah, I mean, the reason why it was uncertain, I mean, if you read the comics, I think you didn't question Aaron and Eric's motives, because you knew that these people were good, but we, as the audience, didn't know, maybe, if you didn't, watching the TV series, not watching the comic, because remember those zombies with, like, the stuff in their foreheads in the episode 9?
Yeah.
With the marks and the village that was raided?
We still don't have...
We don't know...
We don't have a clue about that.
I don't know who that is. There's two possibilities in my head. I'm thinking it might be the Scavengers, which is like a one comic. It's a one-off thing. It's just a bunch of random guys that come to the Alexandria and say, "Oh, give us all your supplies," or whatever. But that group's killed off in like one comic. It's really, really fucking brief. It's almost like Joe's group in last season. Or it could be the possibility of Negan's group, but I don't know if I'm going to make that jump, because there's still a lot of time that has to pass until we get to that. I don't know. It's possible they might not do that. Now, here's a question I have. How are they going to bring Morgan into the mix now? Is he just going to go up to the gates and be like, "Guys, can you let my black ass in?" Or Aaron's gonna be like, "Oh wait, we've been following this black guy around. Should we let him in?" Yeah. "Oh wait, we lost the black guy. Yeah, we need one on the. We need one as replacement.
We need
to
replace one."
Yeah, poor Tyrese. Tyrese would have fit in with this community, though. That's unfortunate, He was
like, been able to play with all the kids.
Yeah, but no, he was so close to getting somewhere where his how
God.
he is would have worked, and that's kind of tragic in the fact that that happened and stuff. But some good zombie kills. Let's mention that, because I know the Talking Dead does that. The fucking
the flare gun to the eye socket.
I was legitimately impressed with that fucking shot.
It was pretty gross. How it was like melting his face. Like, ugh.
I said to you when that happened, I was like, "Oh, it was like a jack-o'-lantern," because like you shot it was like
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, the Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah. That was fucking hilarious. Yeah, but oh my God, there were so many. And I was thinking, remember I was saying to you when they were running all of the zombies, like, it's Dead Rising 3, because you're just running.
Oh my God, that was nasty.
Just blood going all over the fucking car.
That car was completely red.
Oh my God, that was
Michonne was trying to rip the arms out of the fuck. Oh, that was nasty.
Yeah, the grate. Oh my God, that was.
It was kind of interesting that when Michonne, in the car when they were driving at night, Michonne was going through the pictures, and then she realizes, wait a second, there's no people in these pictures, and then she's like, "Oh, why are there no peoples?" And he gives like a bullshit like,
yeah, but of course,
it was overexposed. But then he's like, "Wait, we didn't ask him the questions, did we, Rick?" And they're like, "How many zombies did you kill? How many people did you kill?"
But of course, that was kind of plot convenient, because of course he doesn't have a picture of the people, so then the end scene can be Rick hearing them. Yeah. I was like, okay, I get what they were trying to do, but so to each his own, I guess. But
and then the flare that went off when the car couldn't start, and he Aaron flips out. He's like, "Oh, it's over. I'm going." And we didn't really think if it was like a rival group, or like what was going on. Like why was he so upset? And we figured out later that it was his partner.
What happened to Eric? Did they run over his foot or something? Like what the fuck happened to him?
He said he was hiding under a car, and then like his the zombies were pushing the car, and it rolled over his foot.
Oh, okay. I was like trying to think. I didn't know if Abraham's like distracted, like, I don't know where I'm going.
God,
yeah, that scene where he sees the Washington. I want to say something. I gotta go look at that scene again. That didn't look like a post-apocalyptic Washington, did it? Because I was expecting
the Washington Monument was still standing.
If anyone's played Fallout 3, you know how it's kind of like broken and stuff. Like, I mean, I'll take a closer look.
It hasn't been that long. So.
I mean, yeah, but I didn't know if it would be deteriorating, or I don't know. It
hasn't been this hasn't been going on long enough for it to be deteriorated, but like I don't know if in the story if they like because in Atlanta was bombed out. Like I guess they didn't do that to DC.
I'm not sure. I mean, in the comic books, you get a glimpse instead of the Washington Monument, you see the Capitol building, and it's a bit fucked up. And there's actually, it's funny in the comic book. There's people with protester signs, and you see them on like the ground and stuff. It's kind of funny. I know they didn't put that in, obviously, for the sake of time.
Zombies?
Well, like protesting, like for advocates and like rights. We might see that in the spin-off series, actually, the one they're doing that shows what happened during that period of time. But
that would be really cool. I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, but the scene with Abraham, that scene where there's the guardrail.
Please don't run off the road.
I was like, Abraham, pay attention. You know what happened the last time you took your eyes off.
It's becoming a common theme for characters while driving to be distracted and then fuck shit up by crashing.
Yeah, remember in episode 5 where he flips the... I mean, that was Eugene's fault for plugging the thing, but, obviously...
But still.
Yeah, so... I'm trying to think what else. Other than the introduction of Aaron and Eric, we're probably... Now, by the preview, I'm assuming... Because what happens, at least in the... Now, again, they're really following the comics pretty close on this one, and... Paul Monroe, who is the leader of the whole thing, this old guy, comes up to Rick and he tests them. Remember Aaron said it's not up to me?
Yeah.
This guy, Paul Monroe, it's almost like a test. He sits you down and he's like, he asks you, it's ironic, almost the questions they asked Aaron. They ask Rick the same. So do you hear Rick where he's saying he's killed people, he's done this, he's done... So basically Paul's testing him to see if he'd be right for the community and basically saying, are you going to be good or are you going to be bad? That's the thing. It's a test. And obviously, the preview, they're trying to throw you off with Carl looking in the thing and whatnot.
The knife. He's like, what?
I don't know.
Snooping around with a combat knife.
I don't know what direction they'll go from here because it could go up in the air. I'm not sure because based on the plot of the comics, and I'm not sure where they'll leave. Where will this season finale be? Will Morgan? I'm assuming Morgan will be at the end at some point, but we'll have to see. Yeah. So it's all predictions.
I want to see Morgan eventually, but it's gonna be interesting to see how they tie that in.
Yep. So let's see. I guess we can give our scores. That's pretty much it, right?
I'm trying to think if we missed anything. I mean,
I don't know. Rick was acting obviously paranoid, and I mean, we saw his I agreed with his mentality, but there was that point where it was a little too much. Yeah. Like. You have...
And thankfully, Michonne was strong enough to stand up for it, because everyone was thinking that they should go for it, but it's kind of hard to stand up against Rick after knowing how, what he's done. So, thankfully, Michonne was the voice of reason. And
it's kind of funny, because I had this discussion with a friend, which was completely not related to The Walking Dead. My friend said to me the other night, what's the end goal of of what you're doing, your mentality? And so that applies here, too. What's the end goal of Rick's mentality is obviously to keep his people safe and to do things for the means of survival so that everyone's safe and that they have a place to live. Their goal has been to find this place to live, but some of Rick's actions I feel like aren't necessary in that sense for that and stuff. But in some cases, they are, and that's why Carol made that statement. So,
There was also that scene when Aaron and Eric were finally reunited where they were staying for the night, and Rick comes up and he's like, the big grizzly man, the monkey beard, he's like standing in the shadows, and it was like the imagery of him, it was like how he's standing in the shadows of society, he's basically given up hope on humanity, and he's on the fringe of society while there's people still trying to believe in it and still being connected and having emotions and feelings. Mm-hmm. And eventually, Glenn and all the others were able to talk him down, but it takes so much because of what he's had to do when gone through.
Exactly. Then the last thing I'll say is the gun and the cone. Again, proactive. It's the same thing where he covered the bag in Terminus. Where
he's taking a gun in with the blender, so smuggling it in.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens with that. It's ambiguous. I don't know. I'm assuming Morgan's gonna come into the fray by the end of this season at some point, and I don't know if they'll introduce a villain. I don't know. I don't know if they'll do that because again, in the comics, there's a stretch. They have to meet. There's another community they meet that's related to Alexandria, and they have to solve a conflict there. Then that leads into their next big villain. I'm assuming they're not going to touch upon that until season 6, but I don't know if they'll lead into it at the end of season 5. We'll have to see. Obviously, this is where things get really interesting because it's it's one of the most interesting points in the comic, in my opinion, that happens, and we'll have to see. Because the budget, I was telling Jack, like, if they're gonna budget like the stuff that's coming up, they're gonna need a bigger fucking budget. Because at least in the comics, what happens, it's fucking almost like a civil war, like kind of what goes on, and without spoiling too much with different things and stuff. So anyway, not to get too off topic, I'd say 8.5 is what I'm gonna give this first score.
I'm trying to remember what we gave. We gave the last one I gave it an 8 last time.
Yeah, last one was just because it was slow, reiterating character development stuff, which is okay, but again,
I think I'll give it a 9. I like this episode.
9?
It was good.
Yep.
It was good.
I thought it was pretty good and stuff.
It was a lot. There was good excitement, good tensions when they were driving to the road at night. There was a couple plot twists. We didn't know like how Eric and Aaron were gonna deal with with the group when they came in.
One thing we were worried about was the group getting split up again.
Yeah,
when Glenn and Aaron got separated, I was like, "Oh shit, are they gonna get separated?"
And then the motorhome had to turn around and go the other way.
Yeah, I was worried. I was like, "God fucking damn it! Don't do this like you did last season."
There was some good tensions in there, and
yeah. So one character we haven't heard anything from really is Tara. You know the one?
Yeah, she's kind of just been. Because even Rita, or whatever her name is...
Rosita
had a couple dialogue lines. Yeah, but Tara had...
Eugene had one, but he was playing fucking 7-card stud.
Yeah.
Like, what the... I mean, again, like, he has a new role once he gets to the community. Like, he makes ammunition, at least in the comics he does. Right. So he's not worthless. They might actually touch upon that in this season, I'm thinking, because that's an unresolved thing ever since...
I imagine they are going to do a lot of developing within that community coming up, so...
Yep, it'll definitely be interesting, and yeah, so we'll see, we'll tune in, because technically we've got episodes 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, we'll have 5 episodes.
Yeah.
So, are they all going to be inside this safe zone? Is some of it going to be outside? Like, how is it going to be? And what cliffhanger? Are they going to leave off on a cliffhanger? Right. Like, because think of the cliffhangers we've left off on. Last one was the Terminus cliffhanger.
It's got to be something.
The season 3 one was, Rick turning over a new leaf / where's the governor kind of thing. There was that cliffhanger. Season 2, they had just escaped the farm, so it was the reintroduction of a new community. And then, same thing with season 1. They had left a place and they were trying to find refuge. So since for me, I thought that they would get. I'm glad I was wrong. I was thinking they weren't going to get to the safe zone until the final episode of this season. Now that they've got there, and there's still 5 episodes left, what are they going to do to fill that time? New characters, because there's a whole bunch they can introduce in the safe zone. How are they going to spend the time? Is my question. So we'll see. That's obviously the question going forward. But in the meantime, that's it for the review. We'll see you guys later for next week. Peace out.
Yay.